And hello, welcome back everybody. Welcome back to Open. I'm your host Bob Lee, sharing the stage with artists like Styles P, Immortal Technique, Talib Kweli, and Lupe Fiasco. Okay, all right. The artist known as INTIKANA. Why is our floor manager laughing like that? It's a true ambassador for the Bronx music and culture. With more on his musical journey and his latest project is INTIKANA. We welcome you to the show.
Thank you for having me.
You do great works. We hear you out there all the time doing your thing. What's your latest project that you're working on?
Working on a project with my DJ Charlie Hustle. The project is called Master Cleanse. It has to do with the idea of cleansing ourselves from our masters, our oppressors, and basically addressing a lot of different forms of oppression, be it racism, sexism, homophobia, immigrants' rights, all types of things that we feel are very prevalent, not only to the Bronx, but throughout the world.
That's cool. And what made you come up with something like that?
Well, DJ Charlie Hustle approached me. We're part of a collective called the Rebel Diaz Arts Collective, RDAC BX. We have a South Bronx-based hip-hop community center, it's a multimedia space. And we met through that space, and he wanted to work on a project. I had the idea of Master Cleanse, and it wasn't until we started going through records, putting together beats and lyrics that we decided we wanted to do a full project. Yeah.
How important is that to present something like this in the community, with the having to have things in our community for youngsters to get into, because if we don't give them something positive to do, they may get into something that's not cool?
It's infinitely important. I'm an educator as well as an artist and an activist, and I feel as an artist we should be speaking about these kind of issues, but beyond that, not just speaking about it, but actually engaging in action that addresses these issues. And this project is a form of me to do that. We're going to do a double disc album, which has 33 tracks, and it's going to have a lot of different collaborations. We recorded some of it in Cuba. We recorded most of it in the South Bronx. And
South Bronx, South Bronx!
South Bronx, you know what I'm saying? Representing full hard. And a big piece of it also is that I'm trying to create a curriculum out of it. So high school students as well as college students can utilize it within the classroom.
What school do you work at?
Different schools around the country.
Oh, you just go around different schools. Good, good, good. All right, well, how did you come up with the name INTIKANA?
INTIKANA means instrument of the sun. It's Quechua. Quechua is the native language of the Incas.
Okay.
Yeah.
Incas in Mexico.
Throughout South America, you know, one of the many indigenous people who were falsely colonized and abused and exploited throughout history.
But came up with some great works back in the day.
Exactly.
I mean, they built pyramids and all that stuff.
All beautiful things. All beautiful things.
So this is wonderful. All right, how important has the Bronx been in your development? You know, because, you know, sometimes you grow up in a certain community, you use all that stuff that you grew up with to present what you're presenting today.
The Bronx has been instrumental. It's the foundation, not only for me, but for hip-hop. It's been a vessel. And growing up in the Bronx, I actually wrote a play, a one-man hip-hop musical, which is entitled Penumbra. And it's all about my experiences having grown up in the Bronx, my childhood, addressing social injustice, self-identity, family, all types of things.
We should have brought some of that play on today.
Well, I actually have a gift for you. I got a gift for you. I got a dope poster, which you should hopefully enjoy. On the play. I don't know if folks can see that.
Yeah, I'll hold it.
This is the poster. And this is the CD to the play. It's the soundtrack for the play. So I brought that for you.
Cool.
And I brought a nice EP for the new project.
Got the EP,
11-track EP, a sampler. And of course,
I got the best sound system in my car. I'm not gonna tell you which car it is.
You gotta bump it. You gotta bump it.
Yeah, I would definitely bump this.
So I got some stickers, and this is the collective space RDAC BX. So, and the founding group Rebel Diaz, which I work with as well.
Woo! Master Cleanse. How did you come up with that name?
Well, there was a man by the name of Stanley Burroughs who put together the actual Master Cleanse, which is like a diet, quote unquote, which cleanses out the body to clean it and renew it. And I always thought that was very interesting, and I think one of the biggest viruses of this planet, I mean, unfortunately, is the human race, because we destruct the planet so viciously, you know, and we consume without limit. That's what capitalism does. There is no limit to, no limit.
Go deep.
So a lot of this project has to do with how do we engage it in a way that's powerful. For me, the most powerful way to engage it is through hip hop.
Yes, yes. How do you feel about what's happening in Japan? Because Japan is close. They copy a lot of the stuff that we do. A lot of our hip-hop people and artists go over there and they perform. They love our music. They love our culture. And they emulate some of the things that we do. As a matter of fact, we have the Apollo, world-famous Apollo here. They have an Apollo over there. A friend of mine, Molly Mall, started in hip-hop. He was one of my DJs back in the day. Worked with Mr. Magic. He goes over there. He married a young lady from Japan whose father owns Cup of Noodle. But the family's over here now because of all the, things that are happening over there. They're releasing tons of radioactive material into the Pacific Ocean. How do you feel about that? And, being into cleansing and all of that. And you said man is self-destructing. Or
yeah, it's a dangerous process, and I feel as a human being, like I'm growing through my own process of self-consciousness, and I work with the youth to address those things. But I feel what's going on in Japan is so tragic, and I feel we're so very desensitized by what happens in the media. So then when we see how many advertisements you see throughout the subway have to do with like a gun or someone getting shot or killed, and how those stereotypes affect people within the community, such as the Bronx, marginalized communities. So in Japan, not only do they maybe utilize elements of our culture, but we utilize elements of their culture as well. And I think it's very sad, it's very tragic. But I think when those big tragedies come, it's always an opportunity to reinvent ourselves and hopefully make the best out of the worst, however that's possible. So I send boundless energy to them, and I really hope that the families affected can overcome and be better.
Inca energy, all right.
Spiritual, all that.
There you go. Now you shared the stage with a lot of great artists. Who are those people, and how was it with that experience?
Beautiful. I got to share the stage with a lot of different people, and they all have different memories. I remember KRS-One, who's also from the Bronx. I had flew into Cali, and he was on stage, and my homegirl J. Rose Pirelli, she invited me on stage to rock, and he was in the back, and he's like bumping his head, and it was cool because like these are people that I look up to, Talib Kweli or M1 and Dead Prez, like different folks that I think are superbly dope, and are spitting consciousness. So I'm proud to have been able to have those opportunities.
Do you know the history with KRS-One and Molly Mall?
Of course, of course. I mean, and that's another thing too. Like I have to study the foundation of the culture and who the pioneers were, and how like especially in the Bronx, like the building of highways displacing people and communities, and what poverty does, and what happens when people are in desperate, dire conditions, what comes out of it. Something as beautiful as hip-hop. And my idea is that hip-hop's been manifesting for thousands of years, if not before time. And I truly believe that. And it's the most intercultural culture of all time. It doesn't matter what color you are, where you're from, what you believe in, what your sexual orientation is, what your experiences have been throughout your life. Like you can participate and you can be an active contributor to the culture. And I think the elements, which is often neglected, the fifth, which is knowledge, and I think that's so important. That's the one I really like to stress.
But the culture's all over the world. When I was taking classes at the New York Institute of Technology, I was working on a master's degree. We were at this community culture program. I forgot the name of the class back then, but it's not that far back. But all right now, break it out. There was this young lady. We all had to get up and present something. And this young lady got up and she brought a boombox to class and started playing a beat. It was like, and everybody was whopping their necks in the class and everything like that. This was a Chinese young lady. And then the person started rapping. In Chinese. And everybody said, oh. And right then we found out that hip-hop is a culture that's all over the world now. It comes with the clothing, it comes with the music, not only music, but clothing and everything else.
And it's freeing people too. I think what many people around the world are realizing what hip-hop, the power of hip-hop. I just heard of a poet, hip-hop artist, Poeta Callejero in Dominican Republic, who's utilizing it to speak against the government. People like Calle 13 or 79 or artists in Palestine, DAM, they're doing incredible work that addresses these issues. all throughout the world. That, you know, government abuse or domestic abuse, as the woman earlier was mentioning, like all types of stuff that we should be speaking about.
Well, we had groups here that did that also.
Yeah.
Fight the power.
And so we got to do it. And you see, we have elements of media, like everybody's here. We have the cameras, we have people working together, and this is community. This is what we have an opportunity to discuss. So it's important when we utilize media for what it can be used for, not to subliminally, you know, attack children, because media could be used against children as young as 2-3 years old through the movies that they watch and the lessons they learn. I'm sure there's a lot of people, they go back, wow, I seen that cartoon. I didn't know that, you know, the donkey, you know, in this cartoon was meant to reflect upon, like, you know, a slave back in the day.
Exactly.
And, you know, that, you know, what those effects have on a child psychologically.
We're being conditioned to be a certain people by the knowledge that you receive from your community, and also the, for instance, you get your looks and everything from your parents, right? From generations, from the Incas all the way back, right?
Tainos, baby.
Yeah, Taino Indians.
Native indigenous everywhere.
Right? And it's called hereditary. It's heredity. There's also something called social heredity that we get from the biggest movers. You know where I'm going with that? The biggest movers of people. Social heredity. The biggest movers are the media. You just spoke about that. The churches, and there's one other, Department of Education. All of you get those books. Who puts those books out there in the classrooms? You know, they all move people in a certain direction.
And I feel like
a lot of nations have gone to war behind that social heredity thing. You know, it's deep. It's an
interesting concept. Yeah. And I think that's why it's up to us to do it independently. You know, for the public, for people. You know, what's going on in Wisconsin with Scott Walker and the governor over there, or what's going on in Albany right now. There's things happening all over this country. And it's crazy how when the media or religion or, you know, education, the things that they lack sometimes, like the budgeting, teachers are getting cut all over. I work in a different facility upstate, JCCA, and a lot of people are getting, you know, laid off. Cottages where the youth that are in foster homes, in and out of foster homes, or they're on probation, are, you know, have to get displaced as well. So it's affecting all of us, and I think the question is, and what this new project that I'm working on, Master Cleanse, is trying to speak on is, what is oppression? What is freedom, and how do we achieve it? Like, because there's many people's definitions of freedom that include oppression.
That's right.
You know, the freedom to oppress people. You know, so what we're gonna hopefully premiere later in the show is a short clip of a music video which I filmed in Cuba last year called Amistad. Amistad in Spanish means friendship. And we filmed it out there with this group called Explosión Suprema, which is like super legendary out in like Cuban hip hop in terms of how it began out there. And we filmed it in their birthplace, so it's like from this birthplace to that birthplace. And also two other artists called Indiana and La Real. So it's a really cool music video. I shot it along with other folks and I edited it. And
can we check it out now?
Yeah, we got it's a snippet. It's a snippet. And just last word is that this Friday, April 8th at 8 o'clock, we're premiering the full video at RDAC BX, which is the Hip Hop Community Center where I work at, which is 480C Austin Place. You can take the 6 train to East 149th, walk over there, but RSVP on the website, intikana.net.
RDAC BX.
Yeah.
480C.
Austin Place.
Austin Place. All right. Let's take a look at the clip.
Yeah.
La amistad, papi, tiene fecha de vencimiento. Hay que aprovechar ya los. Mientras más. Voten.
Ahora.
Vamos.
Vamos. Bueno, Guille. Vamos. Ahí son, no se lo vayan. Guau, cántale ahí.
Vamos.
Déjame hablar. Déjame hablar.
Habla, ¿dónde quieres hablar?
Oye.
Ahí se oye.
Intikana, explosión suprema.
La Real, Indiana,
Bronx, el nacimiento. De Cuba, el crecimiento. Gracias por todo.
Gracias.
Vamos allá. In life there's a path you walk, nothing is promised. Everything is sacred, even our mistakes. People enter our lives on a day-to-day basis. We just gotta take the time to say change in la lucha. It's easy to quit, just switch places with a person who once had a dream but now evades it. Potential, what does it mean? How do you reach it? The difference between a wish and non-fiction, mis amigos, the ones that I'm there for in an instant. The day you're no longer here, I'ma miss you. Plain simple, I live life like tomorrow's non-existent. That's why I say I love you to my family when I kiss and write my goals on paper, share my journal with my woman. The truth of my life with my heart as the rhythm, it's a feeling. The building of friends without limits, without walls and false smiles and broken bridges. It's a system holding us back from our own ambitions. Together we can overcome and redefine friendship.
Si la vida dependiera de una amistad verdadera, lloraría si supiera que tú no estás. Yo,
INTIKANA in the house in Cuba, and he's right here in our very own studios right here on Open. Hey, we welcome you to the show. You know, you always got to come back and present some more because you have some history with you. You're not just a rapper. You know, you come with knowledge, and I think our community needs to hear some of that knowledge, and you need to come and create some of that awareness as to what you're doing, what your organization is all about.
Thank you.
Can you kick some freestyle? Because they're giving me a wrap-up over here. Look at the floor manager.
I got some words. I got some words. I got some words. All right.
Good.
So on the topic we were discussing, what is freedom? Is it a thought, word, or dream? Can it be none of the above or all three? Is it something we all have but can't see? Is it only for a few? Is there enough for me? If nothing in this life is free, what's the price that we have to pay to be? Is it a choice? Is it given? Is it taken? Is it worth it? What does it look like? Where can I find it? Is it in the projects? Is it out on Wall Street? Is it on a hammock over water at a far beach? A baby in a stroller with a mother that could feed her, who doesn't have to raise a voice, lay a hand and beat her the way she was repeatedly addicted to a needle. A father who could be honest and promising a teacher. Teachers who could reach her. Has she seeking for a reason more than a score off a test quiz of regents? Doesn't mean that she could feel it. She's dreaming and she means it. Meaning she could be it if given to me to see it. Quiet in the back of the class, too shy to raise a hand. Most see youth as kids, but they're greater. They're reflections of us. They descended from us. The us that we were when we were who we were. It's absurd when the elder tries to minimize their worth. Holding on to wisdom with them, wishing they could learn, pass it on. It's important. They're starving for the knowledge. Change comes with time. It's not an action, it's a process. It's more than just marching. It's what you do after the protest. It's giving back to the hood. That makes you conscious. What makes an activist activate when they graduate with a bachelor's or a master's? From the masters with the masses screaming massa. Master all the answers when they mastered it. We could shape the world if we could try to change how we imagine it. It's okay to make mistakes, but if freedom's what they say, we don't have time to waste.
That's what I'm talking about. There you go. INTIKANA in the house. You gonna come back with more?
Yes, make sure you hit us up. And when you gonna take me to WBLS, man?
You're welcome. We got a list going around. We're gonna do like a tour up there, right? But you can make sure you check out INTIKANA Friday, 8 p.m. 480C Austin Place for his music video release. Amistad, and it means
friendship. And make sure you RSVP intikana.net. You know, free all political prisoners, Julian Assange, WikiLeaks, and we here.